Well, thanks for joining us and congratulations. That was a fighting second half.
Yes, it was. My message at half-time was obviously one of a little bit of disappointment, because I think obviously the poor goal that we conceded makes the half feel probably a little bit worse than it was. I didn't think we were scintillating, but at the same time I didn't think we were as poor as that feeling felt coming off the pitch. So the message at half-time was, I know how capable you are, you've shown it already, don't panic, stick to what we've spoken about. We need to play with a little bit more intensity, because I felt they would start to get back behind the ball, and I thought we showed our intent pretty quickly when we came out for the start of the second half, not just by the fact that we got a pretty early goal, but the fact that the way we moved the ball had a little bit more zip about it, and you moved the opposition around like that.
You needed something special, and it came from Joe Widdowson with his right foot, his first goal I think for almost 11 years.
There you go. They come along every now and again. It was quite funny today, because we were showing the boys the pre-match video that Joe puts together for the opposition, and there was one where Toure for Salford came in at the edge of the box of last week and drilled it into the bottom corner, and I sat next to Joe and I nudged him. I went, wouldn't mind one of them, would you? I didn't expect him to step up and bend one in the top corner with his right foot. I think that would be a little bit similar to how it was with Matty last week. I'm sure that would be one that he's brought up a fair bit at training this week.
There's a lot of composure about Matt Howell's take, wasn't there?
Yeah, I didn't see the incident, I've got to be honest. All of a sudden I turned around and Craigie was in one-on-one on goal, and I thought it was a very, very good decision, because I think sometimes those ones where you're in and you've got so much time to think about it, almost puts the percentages in the hands of the goalkeeper a little bit more. So I thought it was really good of him to be so calm and to pick that out, and for Matt to show that composure and roll it in a goal.
A goal and a red card for Conor Wilkinson is going to be missed, isn't he?
He is. I think Conor's grown. When I say I knew he would, when you sign a player, you always think you're signing good players, don't you? And I think it took Conor a bit of time to find his way into the team. But I think probably since Lee's come out of the team, he's really sort of grabbed his opportunity with both hands. He's given us a different threat. I think he can head it and he can be a bit of a target, but at the same time, if you give him the ball, he can get at people 1v1, and sometimes you need a little bit of luck. There's been a number of them, Dave, we've bobbled over Dean Brill this season, and we found ourselves letting in a goal, so it was nice to see it go in our favour today.
How did you see the incident that led to the red card?
It was obviously a foul by Conor in the corner, which I thought was probably a needless one, but albeit sensible foul, if you like, to foul that high up the pitch and allow everybody to get back into position. And then they just looked like they were tangled to me. What I would say is, from what the staff have said to me, is that there was raised hands. So if that's the case and Conor deserves to get sent off, then obviously he has to take his punishment. But I think at the same time, he's got a black eye out here. So something tells me that something else went on. So I think, he's obviously reacted to something. I spend every day with him, so I know the type of lad that he is. I know he's not an instigator of trouble. So it suggests to me that something went against him in order for him to react. And I think either player deserved to stay on the pitch and both players deserve to go, in my opinion.
Nearly 7,000 at the Bear Group Stadium, Brisbane Road, where they haven't seen Leyton Orient pick up maximum points since the opening day of the campaign. That was so emotional. It felt emotional at the end of this one, didn't it?
I certainly felt emotional. Yeah, look, we've talked about the home support a lot this year, and the away support obviously is a completely different thing, I think, in terms of the people that travel all over the country. And we I listened to Matty on the O Show this week, and he talked about us giving people, raising the crowd, and I know I've mentioned it to you this year, and giving people an opportunity to get off their seat and support us and back us. So I was really pleased, obviously, with the initiative of the Football for a Fiver. I think the only game in London, someone also told me that. So to see such a big crowd and then to send everybody home happy with a positive performance, with 4 goals in the game, 3 going in our favour, is something everybody at the club should be proud of. But to comment on what you said there, the emotion at the end for everybody, because it means a lot. It means a lot to us to get that home win. We've come so close. We've been very disappointed that our home form hasn't been better, and to send everybody away with something to cheer about today means a lot.
It's 7 points from a possible 9 since you said you didn't want the job full time.
Yeah, I asked that, Dave, and I asked that of the group, and I think I expressed to them what my decision and where I felt it was going to help the club progress. But my request to them was, we owe it to ourselves first to turn around this run of form. We had a very, very tough previous month that meant we didn't pick up the points that sometimes I felt that we deserved. But I said, let's use this as a platform, like I've said to you previously, and they've gone and done that. The boys, they've worked tirelessly to get themselves back in games, to hold on to leads in the manner that they did last year. So I think full credit has to go to the boys. And what they've done now is, if the manager, I'm sure that's one of your questions coming up, but if the manager is sitting here today watching, or he had the opportunity to watch it in some way, shape or form, I think he looks at a group of players that have really got the desire to stick together and take this club forward. And the 7 points from the 3 games, he's not perfect, but it's far more than perhaps people probably thought we were going to get.
Would you be expecting that there'll be a new man in charge for the trip to Grimsby?
Yeah, I would expect so. I sat down with Kent last night, and obviously I'm not going to reveal too much information, but he outlined to me how it had looked for the board from their perspective. Same with Matt Porter. I spoke to him earlier in the week, and I've rightly so kept myself separate, because my focus has always needed to be what the boys do. I didn't want to be stepping on their toes and trying to find out too much information. My job was to try and help these boys get the points that we have done in the last few games, and make sure that when the new man comes in, he's got a good team and a feel-good factor about the place. It was nice that Matt and Kent and obviously Martin have kept me updated along the way, and I'm sure when I go upstairs for a glass of wine, Martin might give me a little bit more information as how the early part of next week's going to look.
Because he's taking over under unusual circumstances. The club is still grieving, and the club is actually successful in recent games as well.
Yeah, and I think, brutally honest, Dave, I think potentially the club's situation, albeit I feel like I've bought us some time in what I've done, I think probably some people have still been put off by applying for the job, and I can understand that, and I think it's going to take a brave man to come in and step into that, and I think continuously it will be my responsibility, Joby's and the players, Martin's, to try to release some of that expectation that the new manager is going to have in terms of, referring back to Justin and having Justin still around, because for us as a club, we need to make sure we keep carrying his memory forward, but that must be very, very difficult for a new man. So I would say that's going to be a big responsibility of us to try to take that away and let the new man come in and be a football manager, and a football manager in charge of this club, focused on getting results every week.
But whilst the courage and the wisdom that you displayed under those unbelievably traumatic circumstances is astonishing, and thank you, and whoever the new manager is, they're going to be very lucky to have you as number 2.
Dave, I appreciate that immensely, and I've walked around the ground today and obviously over the last couple of weeks, and the feedback that I've had from people, I went on the Outlook podcast last week, and the boys were sending me consistent messages about people's feedback, and it blows me away. It genuinely does. I probably sound a little bit repetitive now, but it sends shivers down my spine just talking about it, walking around the pitch at the end there, like close to tears for so many reasons, because everything it's been extremely tough. It's been a very, very difficult situation, but I've just said to the lads in there, I'm delighted that you say the words that you say, and I'm eternally grateful for that for everybody, but at the same time I couldn't have done it without Martin's support, without the board's support. I couldn't have done it without the staff being there every day to assist me and drive it as we needed to drive it, and how I was asking them to. And then ultimately, them boys have had to go out on the pitch in the toughest of circumstances. And I think the one thing, whether I've said this before or not, I've certainly thought it, is no one can take this period away from us. I think we all wish that they could. I think one day we'd like to be able to switch and say that this never happened, and not have to look back at it. But it's been incredibly tough for everyone. But the one thing the club has done across the board has stuck together, and now I'm really pleased that we've got a little bit of success off the back of the last 3 games in order to try to look forward.
Thank you, boss. Well done.
Thanks.
Thank you.